let's just bypass for a moment the action passes and take a look at the introduction to a drop-back passing game at Delaware. Let's look at this formation. It's called blue. The blue is a nickname for, so we don't have to get into the numbers because it is double wing. Blue meaning blue left over here, tight end wing, and that's spread on this side. And we're going to throw 51, which is a three-step drop back to this side, to the spread end. The quarterback will take right foot, right foot. He plants the right foot. He has the passing grip almost immediately. That ball hits his hand. He turns it just enough to get the passing grip. He takes right foot, right foot. He has the ball up by his shoulder, ready to throw the ball so that it's show pass. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to fool anybody. It is going to be pass now, and get it up there and let it go. Repeating the protection, and now the lineman, knowing that 50s is three-step, at the attack side where he's throwing the ball, they'll cut a little bit. They're going to get down and take after it so this defensive end can't put his hand up in the air and knock the ball down. And here's your procedure off the backside where the three people are blocking off the backside. And now let's take a look at the wideout. With 3 steps, we'd like that basic pattern, that general pattern, to be 6 yards. And as an example, every time you go to throw the ball, you have to be ready to throw it against man, against 2 deep, against 1, 3, 100 secondary is with 3 deep, 300 is with 3 deep, or quarter coverage where the cornerback drops out. So there are really 3 ways. You have man, you have 200, and you have some form of 3 deep. And our receiver is going to release at an angle for the outside shoulder of that defender. And if he sees that he has any room to the outside, he's going to loop out at 6 yards. The inside receiver is going to turn and start to run right upfield and look over his inside shoulder right now, so that if the quarterback comes out and he finds some exaggerated position, say with the linebacker out wide, that he could, on 1 step, just pop the ball in there. Otherwise, this wingback will run for a depth of 12 yards and set up in there. If the ball is not thrown, set up in there about 12 yards and drift in and find the open spot. The fullback is going to move. To the side of the call, and he will read the hawk or the outside backer, Willie, if you prefer to call him. We'll call him Willie for you. And if Willie comes driving in here like this, our fullback will flare. If Willie runs out of there, our fullback will run at him and curl back up right into his original position. The backside, the tight end releases at 4 yards of width, 12 yards of depth, and will set up this way. The left halfback fakes as though he's blocking and skids in here like this, so that the middle backer runs with this action. You could dump the ball to him. The quarterback comes out. This is his initial read, and all he's looking for, first he checks out the pre-snap read, seeing that this is possible to get this thing off, that there isn't anybody directly in the line of that would be directly in the line of the pass, or that this man has not climbed all over him in some way. And that's his first read, number 1. Now this dumping the ball in here to the right halfback could occur right away, and then he would take a look at him if he can't throw the ball out there. And if he doesn't like that, he can come back, and this man should be finding an opening spot just about the right time. Now let's get ready to adjust for patterns. for defenses. Let's say that we've got a two deep secondary like this, and this man is squatting in that short zone on the outside. The receiver has the flexibility of looping to the inside, so that as the quarterback comes out with his three-step drop, he sees 200. He'll anticipate the inside release like this. And finally, he would release on the outside if he could drive this man off. If there's a back covering this area who will give ground, he'll loop outside. If he squats, he loops inside. The third possibility is where they come on up. They come on up and they're going to jump on him and cover a man. Our man action is this. The receiver always starts out away from where he'd like to go, so that this man will run to the inside and then bust out at 3, 4, or 5 yards and run away from that defender. The wingback will start this way and run to the inside. These people will run outside and then run away from them. And the quarterback has the opportunity then of dumping the ball to the fullback or picking somebody out in here. So you could call audibles and say, hey, they're in man, let me do this. So you could check it off. Or they're in 3 deep as opposed to 2, and I'd like to run this, this, or this. But there's a moment of truth in the passing game that audibles won't take care of. That's just as the ball is snapped, just as it's happening. And the quarterback and the receivers have to be ready to adjust to that eventuality at any time with any 3 of those possible secondaries. Now I have a couple of favorites, so that I've just described 51 to you, blue 51. And I have a couple of favorites, and to get these, I would simply call blue 51 in or blue 51 post would be the other 2 patterns that I like to run. If we get 100 secondary that would look like that, I really like the post. And it would be a 6-yard release, again, releasing to the outside shoulder of that cornerback, and then at 6 yards he just breaks off in there at the post. And the exact angle would depend on where this free safety is and how much he could get. And with the post, the companion pattern is for this wingback to run in the flat. The backside remains the same. The protection is the same. Would flare if that hawk were to drive. The other pattern that I like from this is the in pattern. If you consistently see 200, our in pattern would look like driving right straight upfield, forcing the free safety who has deep half to get out of there. And at 6 yards, he just runs in like this. The quarterback then, with 3 steps, would find that opening, that window in there. Now, if Willie was in the way, he might have to wait a little bit, but you can see he's going to have an opportunity, a window to throw through with the strong safety running out of there. Another thing that happens in a lot of the 200 defenses, 2-deep defenses, is that when both these defenders are watching the inside release, and when they see a jet-type release, he tends to get out of there and would give you this in. we find that a lot of defenses are very much concerned about our motion, so that when this halfback, for example, begins in motion, things start to happen over here. For example, with motion, the strong safety may start to roar up in there to stop the option game or the sweep at that side, and the defense tends to revolve towards it. We can use this action in our passing game, so we have added motion to our three-step drop back. And if I were to drop the end off and step the wing back up, then both of these people are eligible while this one isn't. Now, by running what we call M motion, we can bring him back in motion and then block off the backside or skid back out in here in the drag spot and throw our regular 51 from here, or in this case, 51 post would fit nicely with the defense revolving to 100, and we get a three-step or 6-yard post pattern while the other spread receiver runs in the flat and opens up that post. I spoke to you earlier about the need for an adequate adjustment for man, 2 deep or 3 deep, with every pass. And I think that this might be a good place to introduce the possibility of using a formation to help you with pressure. Here we have loose right tray where the right halfback, the right wingback, has stepped up on the line of scrimmage, and the outside receiver, our spread receiver, has dropped off, making both the spread receiver and our X end eligible, while the right halfback is ineligible, and of course we still have the left halfback over here eligible. By using the concept of M, the left halfback can come back in motion, making it look like he's going to go across, then turning back so that as this pressure comes off the backside, and it could include something with the middle linebacker, we get an extra blocker off the backside, and with pressure off the front, we get an extra blocker with the right halfback blocking, and then we can execute either a 3-step drop or 5-step drop with the fullback going as an additional blocker to the side and giving you the opportunity to run patterns with the 2 receivers to the wide side of the field. This happens to be curl and out. We could run hook and hook. We could run curl and fly. And actually you could even post that, even though there could be a free safety in the middle. When you have the amount of offense that we have, even though we're running only 7 or 8 plays and we're making it complex by using a lot of formations, we don't want to overburden or produce the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back by giving our football team more than they can handle. That's why we'd like to have this 3-step, and it's not, as I've described, and it's not that sophisticated, it's not that complicated. Consequently, continuing with that thought, we'd like to have the 5-step drop as well. With a 3-step drop, our linemen know that that ball is going to be delivered at 3 steps at that spot. With a 5-step, they know it's going to be delivered there. And this helps them as they set up to get to get themselves between their quarterback and the bad guy, so that we think that this is important. And our 61 pattern, or the basic 61 pass, would look like this. We like to use this loose formation in the middle of the field and let this represent the hash mark and this the hash mark. We also have another landmark, which would be the numbers. And we don't want this man outside the numbers. We like to have him work on the inside of the numbers. And we're going to throw 61, so we're going to our right, and we have the same assignment, gap on outside for the 3-man, exactly as he had on 50s. Here is gap on inside, and these 3 men are still going to drop back. We have 1, 2, 3 blocking to the weak side, and 1, 2, 3 blocking to the strong side. And it's exactly the same kind of protection that we used on 3-step drop, only now these people are ready to give ground more and not be so aggressive because they know it's going to take longer. So he would come back here. If no pattern is called with 61, we get a release by the wideout, and he reads the man on him. With 61, he's going to release to the outside, and he's going to read the defender. At 12 yards, he's going to make up his mind. What am I going to do? He has a 3-way read. If he has room, he can break on the outside. If the defender hangs on the outside, he can break to the inside. Or if he sees somebody squatting and not very aggressive about getting out of there, he can break it to the inside. He's your primary receiver on this pass. The inside receiver runs with a little bit of width. He does not want to get involved in that hash mark at all, this being the hash mark. He wants to stay away from that. He has, at 12 yards, he has a 2-way read. He can stop, he can come back inside, or he can take off. The backside pattern, once again, is the same, which is the wideout runs a slant, he reads the safety, and then either works his way back to the flag or straight ahead, or in some rare cases, continue on. The left halfback would come on out there at 10 yards and set up and work his way back. And now the fullback steps this way, and the fullback is the only one who's made a change or has to change in this pass protection other than the technique itself. He looks first for the middle backer stunning through there and gets ready to block him. Or if that backer did not stunt, then he would look for the backer out here who would drive that way, and then he would be in position to block him. Obviously, this introduces any number of patterns. Some that we like would be the in. Run the in at 14 yards and run him straight through. Another would be to run a curl at 14 yards, which is, our curl is run by running that wideout out to 14 yards, planting his foot, and turn back inside. The minute he sees a window on the curl, he's going to stop and start to go back for the ball. If he had to go farther over here like that to find that window, then that's what he would do. Anytime a curl is run, then the wingback runs outside of him and runs one of 2 patterns, a curl and out or a curl and fly. The backside of those individual cuts remain the same. Every drop-back passing game should have a screen. We have several of them, but our current favorite seems to be the quick screen. Take a look at loose 61 quick screen. One, of course, gives you the action to the right and we have a loose formation, 2 wideouts, 2 wing backs, and we're ready to screen. The focus of the screen is going to be on the 3-man or the right tackle, who steps to block pass protection along with the 4-man, and we get our drop back pass technique protection by 5, 6, and 7. In about a count and a half, maybe 2 counts, or maybe it's feel. But as our 3-man gives ground and goes to block him, he will release behind him, let the end come around him to the outside. Then the 3-man will release downfield and block out at the line of scrimmage. The wingback will block the first thing that he can get a hold of, and the wideout would block a man inside of him or directly in front of him. And as the quarterback comes out, he's going to read this. And if he sees this is happening successfully, then he'll just throw the ball quick screen to the fullback, who has the same type of blocking downfield that he would for a running play. With 2.5 counts, a little bit longer, the 4-man releases and gets that kind of angle on the middle linebacker. The 6-man, after dropping back, would go out and get an outside angle on the backer outside, and the center or 5-man would release up and get an angle on the middle linebacker, so he's bracketed. We get a release by the wideout turning in. We get a fake release here by the left halfback, and then he slides into the middle. Now, if the quarterback comes out and he sees that this is not taking place, or he feels that his 3-man can't get out to execute that block, he'll give a couple of steps, let this thing develop so that the left halfback gets in on his side of the line of scrimmage. We get the rush by these people and dump the ball over for a middle screen here. So we've developed really a double screen, which we would use, which we would read and throw to the appropriate receiver. Now we have a pass of virtually every running play. Our assignments for the option on a spread side is to have that man, our wideout, crack the second defender if he's crackable. The wingback checks 2, comes on outside, and stalks 1. This sets up an exceptional passing opportunity. Using the trap option as the action from which this pass is going to be thrown, the running play has this action with the guard pulling and the fullback up the middle. So we want to make it look like that. The quarterback reverse pivots on the midline 1 step. The second step would be made, and as he makes this second step, he has the ball in the passing grip, and he looks over his shoulder and turns to take a look at this. We've been running this option, maybe not altogether a trap option, but we're going to run the option to the spread receiver side. This guy gets a little jumpy. Now, I'm not suggesting that on our receiver runs down there, he yells crack at him, but I've often kidded our defensive backs, our defensive coaches, by saying all I have to do to really shake you up is to yell crack. And of course, this man is very much aware of this crack of this crack opportunity, and the receiver then slides behind him and turns up or flattens out based on the action by that free safety. This thing opens up just about the time that the quarterback turns around. He has the ball in the passing grip, and he throws the ball. The left halfback continues for the pitch relationship. We get blocking back in here. And now, when we're going to pass the ball, we'll bring the fullback up on the backside to fill that in, and we'll step and cup and step and cup. And of course, we've done that at other times. The tight end could release and drift across, drag after he sees that there's no one coming from behind. We have a belly play that goes towards both flanks. That is the play that's designed as a running play for the fullback. He has two of them. He has one at 3 that would go at that angle. He has one at 2 that would go at that angle. 7 would be over here, where the quarterback reverse pivots and rides the ball to him. So with this, we want to have a pass off this action. Let's assume that we want to throw the ball with action towards the tight end. And we call that 181 keep pass. The wingback's assignment is to run out in the flat. He wants to get out there as quickly as he can. If he feels that he's being covered from underneath, he goes deeper. If he feels he's being covered from above like this, he gets on out there and he gets the width. Sometimes the width is more difficult to handle than the depth. And if he's close to the sideline, then he will loop in and work his way upfield. The tight end will work his way across the face of that linebacker and turn up and look into this area between those two defenders. As he starts to, he's going to read them. And he will, in this case, would turn over his outside shoulder and just flatten out behind this cornerback. The linemen on the front side want to block exactly as they would in a running play, and will do that. So that the tackle is blocking down, the guard is pulling around and blocking the tackle. The fullback will run just outside of the tackle, and the halfback will run outside, get an outside in angle on that linebacker. So once again, you find that all the gaps are being taken care of, and the quarterback rides the ball to the fullback with his hands and not his feet, and gets out in here at a depth of around 6 yards and gets ready to drill that ball down the seam. Excellent protection. And on the backside, guess what? We're going to do the same thing that he did on the drop back passing, and we're also setting up the sally, which we can bring back in here and would be discussed in our running game attack. This also provides an opportunity to throw the ball back. We could call 81 keep pass, throwback, and hit the spread end going down that seam if we get a violent reaction by these people. Now, with the keep pass, we could run individual cuts the same way. Let's for example, we want to run 81 keep pass. I just diagrammed 81 keep pass, which is the standard 80 keep pass with the tight end when run to the tight end is in the seam. Now we want to run to the spread end and run an individual pattern. Once we decide that we're going to throw an individual pattern, we're no longer going to ask that guard to pull and make it look like it's a cross block or the fullback play in there. And now we're going to block just exactly as they did on 61 or 51. We're going to step off the backside like this, and where these back three people are pivoting, if we run it away from the tight end, we'll let him drop back and turn out also. The fullback then rides the ball and turns up inside so that he's taking that seam. Halfback comes around and blocks any pressure there. And as an example, if we ran just 81 keep pass, we would get a 15-yard out, 14-yard out, and a halfback in the flat. And if we did that, we would cross and pull a guard. But in this instance, let's take a look at curl, which is a 14-yard like that, or wherever that window is, with the wingback running in the flat. And if we ask for this individual cut, now the quarterback will ride and come back deep in here, and the linemen know that he's no longer threatening the flank. He's going to throw from here. If he called just 81 keep pass, then they'd anticipate that the ball would be thrown from out here, and he'd be threatening the flank. Now I'd like to talk to you about the waggle. The waggle is run off of our buck sweep series. That is the fullback up the middle, guards pulling. And there are really two waggles. One waggle is to the tight end, one is to the spread end. Let's take a look at the waggle to the tight end. If the waggle is being run to the tight end releases inside and runs for the flag. As soon as he gets underway and he gets some depth, he can look over his shoulder. The ball could be drilled into that seam. We've called it 129 waggle, so we fake 129. There goes the fullback up the middle, a halfback across, and the wingback faking as though he's going to block for the sweep. There's the wideout faking as though he's going to block for the sweep. Quarterback comes out, keeps the ball tight to his belly, does not hand fake to the fullback, just keeps it real tight, but he gets the passing grip. Comes out here on the third step, he fakes to the halfback and comes around and places the ball on his hip, but he has that passing grip. If he's going the other way, by getting the passing grip and placing it there, he knows how he can get back to the passing grip quickly, but on a 9 waggle, he can simply make the fake, put it on his hip and start out. The tackle's assignment is gap, down, on. No one from the block down on, so he would block on. The guard would pull, get about a yard depth, and turn in here. Here's an exceptional example of a conflict. This backer is playing on this tight end. The tight end goes down. If he doesn't go down with him, we're going to kick him out with a down play or some other play inside of him. So if he overreacts down, he makes himself vulnerable for the guard's block to the outside, setting up the flank. And this provides the quarterback with an opportunity to get outside of it. So when the quarterback runs the waggle to a tight end, he knows that that's a run-pass option. He can keep the ball because he's going to have the backside guard coming with him. And the backside guard's responsibility on the waggle is to kick out, so that this actually, by coming out here and threatening this flank, he actually puts a great deal of pressure on the defense to respond to him going around the corner or throwing the ball. The quarterback and the offside receivers are very much concerned about what the free safety is doing. If he flows in this direction to help out in that seam, then this wingback, after faking the block at the flank, turns right upfield. His wideout watches him in addition to the free safety, and if he gets a deep release by the left halfback, then he'll release deep also. If we had this free safety being very well disciplined and staying in the middle, then the wingback would run across in front of him, and the wideout would go across behind him. Now the quarterback comes out, and he's faced with a dilemma. It depends on the situation. If it's 1st and 10, he's apt to read deep and then come on up this way. In other words, take a deep read at your tight end, a deep read in here with the free safety. But if it's 3rd down and 5, or where keeping the ball could give him a 1st down, then he'll read from the inside out, looking for the fullback sliding in the flat or looking for the possibility of keeping the ball. Naturally, this particular waggle is enhanced by the wingback, by the left halfback being a wingback rather than a dive back, but coming out of the backfield can be kind of scary too for the defense. It gives him a chance to be hidden a little bit. That is the tight end waggle. Now this can be applied to a number of situations, like, for example, let's take a look at right formation, an unbalanced line to the right. The tight end now knows that he's ineligible, and he can add to the illusion by blocking down just like he did before, with a front side guard blocking for him. And the halfback can go in motion, and we can run a tight end waggle with the advantages of running a waggle to a spread end. Now, somewhat unlike the tight end waggle, where the quarterback feels that the play could equally be a running play as well as a pass play, when running the waggle to the spread end, chances are, in most cases, that it is a pass, because the spread end and the possibility of this backer choking off the run quickly really limits the possibility of the spread end waggle of being a running play. Here we have a typical 4-3 defense with a 200 secondary, and we're running the waggle to the spread end side. The tackle's assignment is gap down before going on, so he would block down. The front side guard pulls and gets takes an angle on that end. It's about a yard of width. And once again, we have encouraged this end to respond to that shoulder going down, which makes this pass protection relatively effective. We get on or left to block here. We get the backside guard pulling, and the fullback goes first, and then the backside guard comes out, and he's ready to kick out. We get a pull check by this tackle ready to block out in this direction. And the quarterback reverse pivots. He gets the passing grip. He puts it tight to his belly. He does not hand fake the fullback. He jab fakes the ball to the halfback going across, places the ball on his hip, and comes out looking for his primary receiver, which is the spread receiver. I mentioned earlier in this discussion that you have to all of your patterns at the moment of truth have to be flexible and adjustable to the coverage. And here he wants to run an out, and he finds that this cornerback is squatting in a short zone and really won't let him run an out. The spread receiver will convert his out cut to a weave, which is executed by running to the outside shoulder of the squatting cornerback and then weaving in behind him away from the free safety, who would be coming over covering half. The fullback would hurry out to absorb the flat responsibility and get the cornerback's attention so that he would release from that weave pattern. And then, of course, the ball would be drilled in here. It would really be short-sighted of me not to remind you that anytime we're running a spread end waggle, that the quarterback is very much aware of the tight end running a crossing pattern. The tight end's pattern is a read pattern. And if he sees the backer run with the guard in the action as this man comes up to contain, then the tight end will hook up in here somewhere in the open spot. But if the backer flows with the action of the backs, then the tight end will proceed on across the formation and find an opening in here somewhere. If the quarterback doesn't like to throw the ball, if this doesn't look good to him, he can come back and read this middle backer to see that if he finds that this backer drops off and this one kind of hangs, we'd get the tight end to come on across, and the opening would occur in here somewhere. If he sees the backer go at that angle and this one at the middle backer at the other angle, then he would look into the middle and find the tight end. The wing back, after faking the buck sweep, would run on up deep in behind the pattern.